I've been in town about 11 years. I was telling you, I came like half the people here to school at Virginia Tech. I thought I was going to be a wedding planner, and lo and behold, right in the middle of my freshman year of college, I got a job at Dance Tech in Blacksburg, and immediately just that's where I knew I wanted to be. As a kid, never dreamed that I was going to be a dance teacher. I started dancing when I was 3 years old, did it all the way up, did the competitions and everything like that, and then went to school and wanted to run the world and realized I could make more of an impact and enjoy my life more, changing the lives of these kids here in town. So I kind of like found a family here and never wanted to leave. I love it.
Gotcha. So as a kid, were you, I guess you're training kids to be competitive dancers, or you're kind of teaching them like, I mean, I know there's college opportunities in dance.
There are.
So like, I know, I'm trying to relate this to my life and somehow, and I was in the golf business at one point, and we started manufacturing this thing and putting kids through the systems and getting them to things that would get them attention and push them to have opportunities in life.
Right.
Not just golf, but, wherever golf might lead them with relationships. Is that something similar?
Yes.
Okay.
So especially if you think about the Blacksburg population, we have people that have so many dreams of, half my students want to be like a neurosurgeon. They want to like go to med school and save lives and do all this crazy stuff that has, you would think, nothing to do with dance, but it's similar to what you're saying with golf. Is we're teaching them the skills that they're going to need to be creative, independent, team worker, like things like that. Yeah. So we do have a few kids that are following their dreams. We have a student that we got to send her away to ballet school, and now she's a professional dancer in Canada, and another one that's going to do the same thing this summer. So we have a few people that do that, but primarily our students are just learning skills from dance. We do compete. We have a good time. We're pretty good, if I do say so myself. Yeah. But it's more about all of the other parts than just the actual dance steps.
Gotcha. So mainly it sounds like that's going to just be a discipline, because you got to take direction from the choreographer. You got to fall in line and work as a team, in that show, the show that you're going to put on, like that has to be repetition, and whatever goals in life, you got to train. So this actually is a part of like a training regiment that is going to install like discipline.
It is.
Right.
And one of the kind of weird things about, well, I think we're a sport and an art, but it is team, but it's also individual. So it's one of the few kind of crafts where you get that experience. You do your group things and you have to rely on each other doing crazy lifts and being in your formation and having your timing and that stuff. But a lot of our kids also get to do like solo performances and really put their own personality and show their passion by themselves. So it's really interesting to see like both dynamics kind of happen in there.
Yeah. Well, tell me, how's life right now? Like, in the middle of COVID, like, tell me how things were kind of prior to, and then, how did you get into COVID and still maintain this business? And how do you feel like you're going to get out? Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Like, where does this business go, and how are y'all going to remain? And maybe how can we help? Bringing you on here is a hope to bring attention to you and your business to let people know that you're going to survive and you're still planning to be around and that type thing. So just give me that story.
Well, actually, oddly enough, it was the same exact time last year where kind of our world went kind of like everybody else. We got to do one competition, and then boom, everything was shut down, and we had to shut down our doors. We couldn't let anybody into the building. So we closed down for not very long. I'm pretty proud of that. Only maybe like 1 week in order to get all of our technology in order to learn how to Zoom and how to virtually teach, which if you're a public school teacher, oh my gosh, it's even more of a nightmare.
Yeah.
Mine, at least I still get to do things and interact a little bit more.
Right.
So, that was tough. But we got to reopen actually in June. So with protocols and kind of the way it worked out, we can just have super limited class sizes, but we're still able to have in-person classes. We still have virtual classes. And then private lessons are like bumping right now. A lot of people signed up for those because you can do safely in person, kind of one-on-one stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how we've been operating since June. It's going pretty well. We are very much looking forward to, we just opened registration for summer camp, and that'll be like, I think, our kind of return to normalcy.
Yeah.
Still reduced class sizes, masks, things like that, but it'll feel a little bit less chaotic than last summer because we didn't know what we were doing last summer. Now we've got it down. We got to figure it out.
Were you guys able to take advantage of some of the CARES Act stuff, like the PPP and things like that? Like,
yes.
And the round 2, did you go to the round 2?
Oh yeah, we're in that right now.
Gotcha.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Oh, so you've applied for the round 2?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it just it's one of those things when people's families are economically hit. Unfortunately, dance is one of the first things to go because it's not required.
Yeah.
The cool thing, people that are able to make it work, we've received a lot of positive feedback that like that's the number one thing that their kid looks forward to every week. So we're hoping that other people will kind of open their eyes and see that we can provide a lot. The value added of our business, even though it's a little bit of an extra expense, it's really worthwhile in order to kind of keep your kids happy and healthy. So we're into it. We love it.
So how do you see? So you have hope that, you know, after vaccinations and everything kind of gets to scale, that you guys see that, you know, normal class sizes might come back, or like what's your prediction on your business being able to get back to pre-COVID times?
I think
how do you feel about that?
We're kind of like everybody. There's some things I do 100% want to get back to, and then there's other things that I think are an awesome change we've made.
Yeah.
So I kind of have mixed feelings on it because, of course, I love being able to have 40 kids in the room at one time, but I also love having a smaller class where we actually get more personal interactions and things like that. So I kind of...
So keeping, obviously, you know, you hear class size is critical to learning. Mm-hmm. So, you know, can you do more volume at a shorter period of time with less kids? You know, does that change your business model to be a little bit more profitable, but you have to spend more time in it? Or like, how do you think that's going to be?
It's kind of a mystery still. Yeah. So we create our schedule. So we follow a school year schedule. Right. So we start normal classes in August, go through May, and we create our schedule right now for the next year. So we already had our complete 2020-2021 schedule done when we had to go into this. So some of our classes are like bumping and we have a wait list and we can't possibly fit enough people in them. And then others, it's just not the demographic that's interested in classes right now. So it will be really interesting to see how that changes for next fall, because we're already getting a lot more people coming back for summer.
Gotcha.
I think they're feeling more comfortable. We're kind of all getting used to the drill. Our studio belongs to this kind of mastermind group that we all get together with teachers from all over the world and all over the country. And we came up with like safer studio practices. So our specific way of holding class and being safe and all that stuff. So we know the drill.
Okay, that's cool. So you're in a group of like people that are thinking about how to do things. That's great. Mm-hmm. That's great. You've got some support there, and you're not just, you know, I kind of shoot from the hip myself, you know, like, you know, I try to just navigate by feeling, and, you know, I look at other people and a little bit, but if I don't feel like it's for me, I just kind of keep doing my own thing. So it is good to have some support there in those situations, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny you say that, because in our group, we're in a smaller town than a lot of other people. So some of their ideas or methodology were like, y'all haven't been to Blacksburg. Right. you don't know what it's like around here. We're like, we're going to have to adjust that a little bit for our clientele, but which is fine. Right on. We love our people.
real estate's one of those things. You get in and you know probably in the first 2 months whether it's something you really like and you're going to roll with it and it's going to become your life and you're going to enjoy it and you'll be successful, or whether it doesn't fit for you. And I've had a lot of people come and they get their license and they work for a week or two and they're like, this is just not me.
Yeah.
And one of the things I have done with people that want to get in is say, okay, well, come follow me on some appointments for a few days. Look what I do. Come listen, sit at the office, listen to what's going on, and see if you even like the environment. Because there's some people, especially those that are a little more introverted, that are like, whoa, this is way too much talking for me.
I've never wanted to reinvent the wheel.
I've never either.
I'm clearly not smart enough to reinvent the wheel. So I'm just trying to take what I like of it and like make it mine.
I say the same thing. I've always go to conventions and take classes, and I learn something that someone's doing somewhere else. I take that idea and I bring it here. Maybe I have to tweak it a little bit to get a little new River Valley spin on it.
Yeah.
But it's always been using an idea from somewhere else that just gets tweaked to fit here.
Yeah. You've always been the encourager of get out of the area and go learn some things and bring them back and do the way that you want. That's how you brought the moving truck into town.
I think
right?
it was 1999 when I got my first moving van.
Yeah.
I was also the first one to have virtual tours. That was somewhere around 99 or 2000. And back then there was no one around here that had the fisheye lens camera. So I had to use a company out of North Carolina. And I would pay this person to come here just to make the virtual tours of my listings to put on the internet. And the agents around here, the older agents, which now most of them are no longer in business, oh, man, she's doing that. Now we're going to have to start paying for that, too.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how it's changed, because now you can pretty much do it all yourself. And
if you got the iPhone, you can do a Matterport 3D on your iPhone now.
I have the iPhone 12 Pro. Yeah.
You can put it on the tripod, or not even on tripod. You can just hold it in your hand and just do circles.
Yeah.
Walk 4 feet, do circles.
Spinning around in circles.
Yeah. That's crazy though, the technology advancements and.
Yeah, it changes so fast. It really does. Yeah. And so what I would tell a new agent is don't get analysis paralysis and not do something. Pick one technology, pick one thing, use it, put it to work, and maybe you use it for 2 years or 3 years, and then it becomes outdated. But that's the nature of the business. But you have to have it. You can't. If you don't make a decision, you don't get anywhere. So just pick one. It's like when they come to me and say, "Well, which CRM should I use?" Just pick one. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them out there. They've been proven. You just pick one and use it. Because in 2 years from now, it's going to be obsolete, or they're going to have upgraded it.
Yeah.
It's
they're forever changing.
It is. And I think agents get stuck trying to say, oh, what's the best postcard to send? Just pick one. Yeah. There's 5 different sites that are affiliated with RE/MAX that you can go in, design your card, and hit the print button, put in your credit card number, and off it goes.
So let's do the math real quick. If they did 12 deals, right? If a new agent did 12 deals, what do you call a brand new agent? Probably average sales price
$200.
You think they would, as a new agent, or you think it'd be a little less? I think it'd be a little. I mean, are they going to be getting $400,000 deals? They're certainly going to be getting like $80,000 deals, right?
They will be on the lower end. So make it 175.
Okay, 175 average. And we're calling it 12 deals, right? So that's 2.1 million in sales volume times 0.03, which is going to be your gross. You're going to, in your first year on 12 units at $175,000, you're going to gross $63,000 in your first year.
Yeah, but
taxes and expense.
You got to take out taxes.
We're going to call that you've probably spent at least 30% of that on your tax liability and your expenses.
Yeah.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So let's just take
or more.
Let's just
I tell them to put 25% of everything they make into a savings account and just put it aside.
Gotcha.
So that they have that to pay their taxes. And then run your business and your personal life on the 75% that's left.
Yeah.
That way, when you get to tax time the next year, you're not going, oh crap, I didn't save
So
enough.
what percentage do you think that they would be putting out to get their CRM, to get to get all the tools that they need?
At Remax, though, you can use Boosh.
Yeah.
You have it built right into Remax. All your design center stuff is all in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty turnkey you can make your own website. All that is done in Boosh. So you don't have to pay another provider for that. You can do it.
Yeah.
You just have to learn how to use the tools at Remax.
So I think it would be safe to tell them that they would be netting around probably 30.
Yeah.
If they made 63 net in their pocket, spendable.
After, if you really sit down and look at it, what'd you spend in gas and car maintenance and cell phone bill?
Cost of being in business.
It's cost of being in business, yeah.
So tax liability plus cost of being in the business. If you made 63 in your first 12 months, you're going to take home 30 that you can spend.
Yeah.
Pretty safe?
Yep.
Okay.
The catch is though the next year, if you sell 12 more, your base expenses are still going to stay close to the same.
Yeah.
So you're going to have another $60,000 in income, but your expenses won't be an additional $30,000 on top of it. So it's the numbers. The
Right.
more you do, but your fixed expenses stay the same, the more you make.
Yeah. I think my problem has been is that I want to keep adding on tools.
You keep spending shiny little toys
like
like
this
these.
stuff.
Oh, like I did it again.
I mean, I am all in to freedom. That's all I care about. I'll spend and spend and spend until I get across the finish line of freedom. That's it. Like that's for me. Like, I don't have
What do you consider freedom?
a sustainable, predictable business that's bringing in probably over $1 million gross. So once we get there, then I can start looking at how much did I have to spend to get there. Because I'm all top line. I'm all top line focused right now. So when I get to the top line goal, I can see what's at the bottom line at that point. I mean, I've got my eye on it.
But you have to sit back sometimes and say, well, I'm spending, take your credit card and look at
I do. All of my numbers. This year specifically, we've gotten really good on where the money's going, how much I'm spending, how much we're making. We're starting to get bottom line focused. But for the last 5 years, it's just get big. It's just focus top line revenue, get big, figure out the problems with getting big, try to identify those and get better at the problems that we have, or fill in someone that can take care of those problems. So take me through the scandal.
The scandal.
Yeah. Where you were getting off the bus at Florida State.
I can remember like it was
and
yesterday.
Just tell me everything.
Yeah.
Tell me what you were going through in the moment, and then the end result when it was all over. Did anything happen to the teacher? Just give me your take on this.
I'll give you, and if you're listening, you're lucky because I won't tell a lot of people this. They got to go buy the book so they can read it. But the scandal, man, what a day! And like I said, I can remember like it was yesterday. We're down at Florida State. I'm starting outside linebacker. Just my second start. I started the first game against Colorado State. Good game. We're in Tallahassee. I mean, as a college, and this is like my first time playing at UVA. So you're in Florida State, and who doesn't want to be at Florida State playing?
Yeah.
So my mind is just, I'm hyped. I'm ready. I can't wait to play.
It's like you've arrived.
I've arrived. This is it. This is my chance. I'm on the biggest stage in college football. At that point, it's like, there's nothing better to show your ability than against the best in the country.
Right.
So as I'm walking off the bus, I literally look over, and there's my head coach, Al Groh, athletic director, assistant athletic director, and somebody else, another coach or compliance officer, and they grab me, literally say, hey, can you come over here and talk to us? And at that moment, in my head, I'm thinking something's wrong because my family drove down from Virginia. My dad, my brother, my uncle, grandpa had driven down, and, first instance of something's wrong. You just get that
Yeah.
that thought that something has happened. And they get me and they bring me to the side. And I'm like, I'm already prepared for the worst. Like, even at that young of age, I know I was thinking, like, shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to tell me something bad.
Right.
So just be ready. And they say, you can't play in the game. And I'm confused, and I'm saying, why? What happened? Well, there's a situation going on back in Charlottesville with one of your classes that you're taking. The professor has come forward to the administration and has let us know that he has given you a grade that you weren't supposed to have. And, you're like, I just close my eyes and I'm like, this is not happening to me. Right here, right now, literally an hour before the game's getting ready to start, we just get off the bus to get ready to go in the locker room to warm up.
Yeah.
And they're telling me, you can't play because this teacher has come forward to the administration to say that he has given you a grade that, and at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm like, whew, relieved, nothing wrong with my family.
Right.
But then a split second later, I'm in disarray and disbelief because can't believe that this is really happening to me right now. And so they tell me this, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, why, what happened, what grade, what are you talking about? Just kind of going through my head of what happened, and what did I do, what didn't I do, did I do anything? I can't remember, because it's all just coming at me like bullets just left. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So they tell me that, and I take it. So then I go in the stands. I have to walk out the tunnel, back in my street clothes, go get my dad, my brother, and uncle out of the stands. So they see my team warming up, but then they see me walking in the stands. So you can imagine their thought process. Like, what's going on? So I get them and I tell them, hey, they've deemed me ineligible to play because this teacher has given me a grade, and the teacher came forward and said he gave me a grade, blah, blah, blah. So my dad and my brother and my uncle, they walked down. My uncle, actually, grandfather, stayed in the stands. But my dad and brother walked down and met with the administration at that time. And yeah, it was absolute chaos on everybody's part because we were not happy.
Man.
As a family, my father was not happy. And I just keep it like that. My father was not happy. My brother was not happy. It seems like crazy that,
it would wait until the moment you're getting off the bus to break this news. Like, how does that, I mean, why did they even let you get on the bus?
Right. And the thing about it, just so everybody knows, I can put it kind of in the context, is yes, this professor gave me a grade that I didn't ask for. Yeah. I didn't ask him. I was in the class. I didn't ask him for a better grade, but he gave me a grade and then came back and went to the president, went to administration and said that he gave me a grade because he felt sorry for me because I was a black athlete and he wanted to help me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned that wasn't the first time he did that.
Correct.
And probably not the last.
Correct. Well, it wasn't the first time.
Right.
I know, wasn't the first time. And it definitely wasn't the last because after everything we went through, the NCAA came in. We had hearings. We had court hearings.
So you were on trial.
I was on trial. My brother was an attorney. He represented me. My dad, my mom, we were on trial trying to get my eligibility back because that grade dropped. Like, it was just like a 0. It was like an incomplete. So can you imagine an incomplete on a 3.0 GPA or even a 2.5 G? It takes you below, it drops completely. So that's like having a 0. So it took me below the eligibility line to be able to play. Yeah. And so that's why I was ineligible the rest of the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a tough climb back, man. It's a testament to your drive and ambition and character. Yeah. That you wouldn't have just been like, okay, well, I guess I just go home now.
Right.
A lot of people would.
For sure.
A lot of people would have.
For sure. I thought about it, but luckily and blessed at the time, my now wife, girlfriend, Kim, we were living together, and between her, my mom, my dad, my support team, they wouldn't let it happen. They were just like, no, we're going to fight it. And I was fortunate. Al Groh, my head coach at the time, was like my biggest supporter, and he got in some heated arguments. I put a quote out the other day that he made, was just basically, in short, it was like, I can remember getting into a lot of heated arguments about you in that situation at UVA, and he was just like, you know, I'm proud of the way that you stuck it, because he went to bat for me, because it wasn't, I mean, can you think, like, I look back, nothing about that situation was right.
Yeah. Nothing.
So it was just one of those situations that we've kind of fell into and had to deal with. And yeah, it's crazy, the scandal.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, for you to go through that and be a champion of that situation and be able to tell your story on that, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
That's like anybody can take that as like the most adversity almost you could possibly imagine.
Right.
Because you're fighting for your life at this point. You know, like, they're trying to take your life away. The dream that you had, they were ready to rip it away.
Yeah, it was.
You know?
That was it. That was the turning point. It was either the dream was going to be over, or I was going to fight to the nail to get to where I wanted to go. And I mean, if you can imagine a 19, 20-year-old kid in every news article in the paper, you know, Haley's ineligible. So it was, you know, you had to deal with all of that. Plus you had to deal with the hearing. Plus, luckily, somehow I got to stay in school. Somehow I got to still practice with the team. I just couldn't play in the games. So a lot of things ended up coming together to keep me centered. Because had I been kicked out of school and had I not been able to play football, who knows what would have happened with the story. So fortunate that I had a coaching staff that went to bat for me to keep some of those things in place during that time.
It's behind that like people's brains literally release certain types of chemicals when they're laughing that helps to solderize a memory. For sure. You know, you got to do it right. If you're not a funny brand, you probably shouldn't put out funny marketing. Right. Everything that you do still has to kind of be on brand, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, even you know, the Saturday Night Live skit with Zillow. I think Zillow could have been, hey, you know, like, let's get some propaganda going for our company. You know, like, you know, that might have been, you know, somebody at Zillow calling up, you know, Saturday Night Live and saying, hey, you know, give us a little play time, like, make fun of us or something like that. Because you know that volume spiked after that show. You know, like, volume for Zillow certainly went off the chart for the.
Well, the reason that commercial resonated is because it's true.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. On many levels.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is there were parts of that commercial. It's not even a commercial. See, I'm calling it a commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a commercial. I think it was earned. I don't think Zillow told them to do that. I think that was just smart writers at a meeting that came up with a clever idea.
I'm always a conspiracy.
I'm
always diving into, like, you know, where I am and, like, you know, powers that be and like, you know, how are we gonna, you know, put things out that are going to help us in certain ways. Like, so like, I'm always like thinking backdoor scenarios.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not saying that might not have happened. I just personally don't think it did. But here's what no one's talking about with that skit. Number one, the guy registers. He didn't even want to register. He didn't even realize he registered. And a lot of consumers can relate to that. Number two, the realtor calls them and she's like trying to pivot them into other properties and bringing up all these other properties. She calls them back again, right? Which is something that, you know, it's frustrating for consumers, but it's necessary for agents.